cosmetics, clothing, perfumery, etc. based on the Bible. I don't know if you're in the business or in a sort of a way you're connected with this branch, but perhaps you want to ask yourself the question, what does the Bible say about this, and is everything what I'm doing in fact all right? So from that perspective, it is wonderful to have a conversation based on the Bible about this topic. So what you see here is of course, a wonderful picture, wonderful images, plural. That's me there in the middle, like a white. And let's just give an oversight of what we're going to do in this video. That's 4 points. 1, information stockpiled in the universe. We're going to talk about that. 2, perfumery and scent of the nasal sense. And 3, clothing or clothes and garments. And 4, of course, what does it mean for you personally? What is your individual gain? And of course, as a businessman, a business person, can you say that your business is good at this moment and that it has God's blessings? That would be, of course, very fine to understand that God doesn't reject or whatever, and that things don't have to be negative. So let's go to these 4 points. Point 1 is a summarization about the first sentence of the Bible, and with that summarization, and in fact with the whole Bible, the God of the Bible distinguishes himself in the most absolute sense, in the most basic sense, from all the other gods. And that's the beings beyond the barrier of the multiverse, and of course the apostate ones under the barrier of the multiverse. Well, with the first line of the Bible, in the beginning God created the heavens of the earth, or via particles, principles, or basic stuff, God created the heavens and the earth. That first line in the Bible is therefore in its essence all summarizing. In the universe we see that there is carefully embedded information, a sort of coding, a sort of language code, and that everything in fact is based on dots, decimals, bits and bytes. Let's distillate a couple of principles. Well, if we check the universe, especially the beginning, we see that every principle consists out of information. That's 1. 2, every particle contains information and is built out of information. 3, every layer, wave, sound, vibration, resonance consists out of information and contains information. So all these principles have a reach and range, and in fact can concretize in a sort of reflection of God's qualities. And these qualities, of course, are visible in the universe. Qualities such as style, elegance, grace, bravura, stylishness, haute couture, brilliance, brightness, classiness, fashion, attractiveness and beauty. So conclusive we can say about this point that eternal principles, depending on time and circumstances, can concretize themselves in the form of reflections in qualities which are visible in the entire creation. Point 2, different wavelengths of scent, aromatic perfume and odor to funnel the nasal sense. If we check 1 Corinthians chapter 12 verse 17, we see that God is mentioning the sense of smelling. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If it were all hearing, where would the smelling be? So we have 5 classical senses. So smelling is very important to value, for instance, perfumery, aftershave. Well, cosmetics is a collective expression for everything necessary to take care of the body, such as perfumery, aftershave, creme, nail paint, makeup, etc., etc. When you look at creation, the creation of the plants, in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, we see that God used a sort of coding, and that he put that in the seed, and within that coding also the possibility to reach a certain reach or range, depending on a process of growth, in better English. So what did God do? God embedded a sort of coding in plants with the possibility to come to a certain reach or range. And of course that's the plants we use for cosmetics. And we also use animals, but we're going or elements of animals, so we're going to check that out as well in this video. But what we need to understand is that God in his creations, he puts a lot of safety nets in his creation. So we have to understand that God used safety nets in his creation, and God created with in advance if we think about the safety nets, all the possibilities that could happen. So after the sinfall, we see that mankind became consciousness of a lot of things, and within that, in the mind, we need to understand that God in advance already had incalculated the life of mankind thereafter. So that's where we see here the plans. And we are also going to see where that God also incalculated everything with the creation of animals.
Part 2, next video.
First of all, we're going to point 3, clothing, suits, shoewear, and coverings in general sense.